Welcome, beautiful thinkers. Let's talk about a way to affirm your transformative, beautiful, emotional experiences with others. Let's get into it.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, bienvenidos, beautiful thinkers. I was thinking about this phrase in Spanish. I don't know where it came from, where I've heard it first, or if I invented it. I doubt I invented it. The phrase is, me conmuevas con tus palabras. You move me with your words. And I've noticed, I guess it's in a lot of English-speaking countries, in our Western culture, if we can say that, people have this, like in Britain especially, they have this stiff upper lip, or people don't want to show their emotions. People want to be cool. They don't want to wear their heart on their sleeve. And sometimes we will be talking to somebody and they say something, they open a little part of themselves and they show us something sweet or something beautiful, and we will be moved, and maybe even a little tear wells up in our eyes, and then we'll be able to see it. If they're observant, they will know that we have been moved, but we don't acknowledge it a lot of the time. We pretend that it's nothing, or we try to hide it. We try to pretend that we weren't affected emotionally. I don't know why this happens exactly. There's a whole bunch of cultural reasons, a cultural background, cultural baggage, I suppose, for why this happens. But I think it is really important when we can be open to being moved, like when somebody says something cool, something profound, I suppose, or something emotional, sentimental. We don't have to shut off our emotions immediately. We can be with it, sit with it, breathe into it, see what's really going on there. When we are moved, a lot of the time we will sit watching a movie, and somehow it's easier to be moved by a movie than the people in front of us. And of course, movie makers know this. In Hollywood, they have a lot of techniques. They put music behind it to amplify the emotions, and they build things up, and they have their little formulas, psychological tricks, editing, and all this stuff. Well, of course, in real life, it's a little more subtle. We have to be really listening to people to hear what's going on, to hear that profundity that is going on within a person's voice, within a person's soul. And yes, it's a little harder to find. It's not something that's going to hit you over the head. But when we listen, we can find that magic, that emotional depth and resonance. And when we do find it, when we do start welling up a little bit, tears in our eyes, we can verbalize it. We can say those magic words, "You have moved me. You move me with your words." Of course, it's not easy, all right, in the moment. One thing, you would have to interrupt them to say that, or something like that, or maybe by the time it's your turn to speak, the moment has passed, or something like that. Well, of course, we can say other things. We don't necessarily need to say, "You have moved me." Also, in these situations, sometimes I'll say something like, that's really heartwarming what that person did for you, or something like that. And we can notice, acknowledge, and amplify those sentiments. We can. Often the things that we notice are the things that we give power to. Where attention goes, energy flows. By acknowledging, verbalizing these emotions, we can open ourselves up, open a little more vulnerability, open our souls a little more to the people around us, forming greater connection and union, simply by saying those words. You move me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a little bit more open. As my yoga instructor keeps saying, cada vez más lejos. Every time a little further. Opening our hearts a little bit more.
A beautiful thought.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any kind of podcast that you like or choose or want to use to subscribe, any platform where this is available. You can subscribe on there, so why not? Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.